Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Talk podcast. Streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, anywhere you stream your podcast, or we are here on YouTube, Girls Gotta Talk podcast. You could come subscribe, join the fam over here. Today has been these past few days have been a very gloomy, rainy day. And I think, honestly, the whole week is supposed to be like that. Today's only Tuesday, but I'm pretty sure the whole week is supposed to be rainy, like potential thunderstorms, gloomy, just, I don't know, not really the best days, but I think it's supposed to get super nice over the weekend, which I guess is really nice. I guess I'd rather have it super rainy while I'm at work and during like a work week, so to speak, and then have it be really nice over the weekend. That way, when we're not working, or like when I'm not working, it will be nicer out. I think this weekend's supposed to hit, honestly, almost 80, which I feel is kind of impressive for the beginning of May, but I don't know. That's just how this week has been. It's been kind of, I don't want to say a dip in temperature, but it was really nice out over the weekend. It was actually like really hot the other day. I think it was like Saturday, but I don't know. I feel like for April, it's definitely nice, but kind of different. I didn't expect that nice of weather quite yet, but anyways, I felt like sitting and recording an episode today. Well, I needed to because I like to post Wednesdays, so I needed an episode, honestly, to put up tomorrow from when I'm recording this. But yesterday, I didn't have time. I kind of was running around, left work a little late, went to go pick up dinner. Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, so I love Mexican food to begin with, but I definitely wanted Mexican yesterday. So I was running around the grocery store and then picking up dinner, trying to meet Julian and JJ, like all that type of stuff. So honestly, I didn't have the time to sit and record. So I knew it was going to happen today. And then I've just been kind of sitting and listening to other podcasts that dropped today. Dropouts podcast dropped today, which I feel like sometimes I just listen to podcasts before I go to record. I don't know if that just sounds weird, but it kind of gives me like motivation to like record my own, if that makes sense. I was going to be recording an episode today anyways, but I don't know, just sitting and listening kind of gives me like sometimes inspiration depending on what podcast I'm listening to, but other times it's just like, I don't know, like hearing people do theirs and like watching videos and everything just kind of, I don't know. That sounds really weird, but it kind of just gets me into like motivation-wise to sit and do my own work type of stuff, if that makes sense. Today's episode, I'm kind of basing around this weekend. This weekend, Sunday coming up, will be Mother's Day. So I kind of was just going to sit and kind of talk about, I guess, life after having kids, if that makes sense. I only have one. I have a little boy. He just turned 3 in March, if you don't already know. His name is JJ. And I feel like kind of sitting and reflecting, honestly, in these last 3 years, like I can't believe he's 3 already, but life after kids, I feel like is definitely different, but in a good way. It's definitely an adjustment, but I feel like none of it is like negative, if that makes sense. I feel like you go and have limited time for yourself, but I feel like it doesn't usually bother me because honestly, I feel like I don't do much, or like I didn't do much before anyways. And even now, sometimes when I actually do have the opportunity to do something or like go somewhere, sometimes like I'd much rather be with my son, and I don't know, or like just sitting kind of by myself for a moment, depending on the situation or how I'm feeling. But I feel like it's always such a back and forth thing because I feel like now that he's toddler and can run around and get into, I don't want to say like get into anything because he really doesn't get into much, knock on wood. I don't have any wood in this car to freaking knock on, but he honestly doesn't really get into much. But I feel like those days where he's throwing tantrums or being his little sassy self, he could get really into like a character sometimes. But I feel like those are the moments you would typically be like, all right, I just want 5 minutes of silence, like 5 minutes by myself. And then a moment comes where like he goes to bed and then I'm sitting there actually by myself and I could be like, oh, I could get this done and watch this show that I've been meaning to watch or videos to catch up on or whatever. And all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're like, oh, like I want him to wake up. Like I want to hang out with him again. Like I feel like it's just a endless back and forth cycle that, I don't know, sometimes you want to do something by yourself or just sit alone by yourself or something. And then the moment comes where you can and all of a sudden you don't want it anymore. Like you just want to be with your child. And even if you have to run an errand, you're like, oh, I don't mind taking him. Like it'll be fine. And I feel like watching him grow up, I'm learning new ways to get things done, whether it be like laundry, cleaning up something. It used to be, I used to have Mondays off a lot, which kind of was really nice. I liked having Mondays off. And at the same time, he was at daycare. So I used that as a day to like catch up on things. That's when I can like clean, finish up laundry, do whatever I needed to do. And it could be honestly a little easier because he would be at daycare. Like he's occupied for hours throughout the day and I have hours to get things done. I feel like now I usually work Monday through Friday, so it'd be like weekends I have him. And I feel like sometimes to get little things done, it would be like setting him up with a movie. He's been loving the Cars movie. He's been he started with watching the first one, but now he's really been into watching Cars 3. So sometimes he has that on. He's obsessed with cars to begin with. So he'll have his toy cars and honestly be situated for a long time. But I feel like either setting him up with a movie or a video to watch, sometimes he'll sit on his iPad, but we have him set up where like he could only watch, honestly, I think like X amount of time per day, but he never usually hits that time limit because he's never really on his iPad to begin with. Like most of the time at night, he wants to watch a couple videos, but it's like right before bed. So he's on maybe a half hour, if that. And we don't want to becoming too much of a habit, obviously. Like I'm not trying to make him like an iPad kid, but sometimes just setting him up is the easiest way to get like a minor task done. I know sometimes if I'm throwing his clothes in the wash or like throwing like towels or something to get washed or dried, if it's in the wash, like going into the washing machine, he wants to help. Like he's always like, I want to help. I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I feel like it's easier to just let him help and kind of be involved. I feel like sometimes the laundry or whatever will take a little longer because he's sitting there trying to do it all himself. But at the same time, at that point, like it's just laundry. It's just a little task. What's it going to hurt to take 5 more minutes to load the washing machine instead of just being like, no, I got it, or like, don't touch. I feel like it's really cute and can set him up in a good way to like be involved in things. I don't want to say like get mad that he's in the way when it's something for just laundry. The only time I don't want to say mad, but I'll get flustered is when he's playing around or trying to be involved in the kitchen while someone's cooking, because obviously I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want him to be involved in that type of stuff yet, unless it's like on the table. Like I obviously don't want him near the oven or the stove. And sometimes like if he just wants to kind of be near you, he'll try to play with his cars like right by your feet. And I'm like, buddy, no. Like if I trip over you, if I spill something splashes, like that could end very badly. So that'll be the only time where I'm just like, I told you to get out of the kitchen type of situation. But if you're going to help me load the washer, like be my guest, be my helping hand. like I said, my son is 3. I feel like watching him grow is super cute. It's super fun. It's definitely a different time in life. I feel like he's making friends. Like I said, he goes to daycare now, or he has been for like almost 2 years. But he's making friends. Like, he'll come home and I'll be like, oh, like, what did you do today? And like, who did you play with? And he'll list like a whole bunch of people that are in his class. Some I know like by face, like who they are. And other times he'll mention people and I'm like, oh, like, who's that? Like, that's a new name. Which is kind of exciting because he's in a bigger classroom for like age-wise. So he has a lot more people in his class that he sees every day, a lot more people in the room, if that makes sense. Like, before there was like a certain amount of people and now it's almost like doubled from what he was in before. Again, it has like a more broader age group. So in his room, like, he's probably one of like the youngest age group wise, and then there's, I think that goes up to like age 5. So he gets involved with like a lot of older kids. And I don't know, I see pictures on the daycare app. They sometimes upload a bunch of pictures throughout the day of what they're learning or what they're doing, what they're going to be going over, books they're reading. And I feel like I'm starting to see what he'll enjoy, whether it's like hobbies, like shows. Like I said, he's in the movie into the movies Cars right now. I was kind of wondering like what movies he'll get into, if he gets into like shows. I know he's watched like the Marvel movies. Like, he used to be, I think he still is, but like a whole or a huge Iron Man fan. He watched like Marvel movies with his dad. He's a huge Marvel person, so I wonder if he'll get into that, seeing like Julian watch those all the time. If he'll like pick up on his own shows or movies or anything. I'm kind of like wondering when he'll break out of like his car phase and what he'll go into after that. Toys, like I said, he cannot walk around without a car in his hand. I swear, every time he does something, whether it's a car ride, whether it's to the bathroom, like whether it's to bed, he has to have a car in his hand. And I know they have toy cars at daycare too. And most of the time in pictures, like, no matter what they're doing, he's sitting there with a car. Like, he just cannot function without cars right now. So I wonder when he'll break out of that and what he'll jump into. He's never really been into like looking at books, which I don't know if it's good or bad that I haven't really pushed that, but I wonder if he sees, like, I personally enjoy reading, but I wonder if like he picks up a book, he sees me into like a reading era, if he'll start getting into books, if he'll like reading. I've been watching him like see how he plays and kind of like what his imagination kind of comes up with. The other day we were sitting in the car and he had like 3 cars he brought for the car ride. And he was having like little conversations with each car, and he like knows their names and everything. They're from the Cars movies. So he knows all their names and everything, and he was sitting there having little conversations, and I thought it was so cute. Like, he accidentally dropped one of his cars, and the one he dropped, the name was Bobby. And so, like, he's using his other 2 cars, and he's like, Bobby, like, you okay down there? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, okay. Like, it was just so funny and cute that he could just come up with these little scenarios in his head. And I know he uses the cars a lot and kind of reenacts little parts of the movies based on the cars that he has, which I think is kind of funny. And at that point just shows how many times he's watched the movies where he just knows bits and pieces by memory. Started to see kind of what foods he likes, what he doesn't like. He loves pizza, loves french fries, loves chicken nuggets, loves chicken. I'm trying to get him onto like potatoes, kind of seeing like, depending on like what me and his dad like, what he'll kind of go towards, because I know his dad doesn't like potatoes where I love potatoes, so I'm kind of wondering like what side he'll get on that. He likes french fries, which is already my side because Julian will not eat those. I'm trying to think what else. I'm trying to see like what fruits and veggies he likes, because neither one of us are really a veggie person. So it's kind of hard to put veggies, I feel like, into his diet, knowing I won't eat them, but I need to definitely try and incorporate more into his meals and snacks and all that stuff. So that's definitely like something I've noticed that could be very interesting. Like someone who doesn't necessarily like snack on fruits all the time, or like I said, I'm not really a veggie person. So I'm trying to put my take aside and be like, okay, he still needs to try these. He should still have these, honestly, in a food group for like dinner or lunch or just snacks in general. So I definitely need to see what he likes and doesn't like. Yeah, and just seeing personality, like mom versus dad, kind of what he kind of gets from both of us. Like I said, this weekend is Mother's Day. I feel like, obviously now having a child, Mother's Day and Father's Day have been super special. Before, with having kids, you're just kind of celebrating moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, like uncles, aunts, anyone who's kind of just been that kind of figure and someone you look up to in your life. And I feel like now, like, kind of being a part of the day is kind of, well, not kind of, it's super special. And I don't know, like you see it through a whole new light almost. And then I feel like there's also little things I've kind of noticed as, I don't know, like as a different perspective on things. I feel like there's different things you kind of notice perspective-wise. I feel like personally, I always think twice on whether or not I want to buy a coffee, like for myself. But for them, like the little things, I'm like, okay. And then as I sit there and I'm like, dang, like I would think twice about this. Like, do I actually want to eat today? Do I want this snack? Do I want this coffee? Like, do I want to eat out for dinner? Should I just go like make something at home, like scrounge up whatever I have? And then it's like one little thing that they ask for and you're like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Like, I feel like I always walk by and he wants snacks whenever we enter a store. He wants like a new toy or something. And I feel like half the time I'm like, okay, like it's just a snack. Or, oh, okay, like another car, you have 5 million, but it's fine. We'll get another one. It's like a no-brainer when it comes to them, but like for yourself, you kind of are like thinking twice and kind of weighing pros and cons of anything you're kind of thinking about for yourself. I feel like having a little one kind of gives you like a built-in buddy, a built-in partner, a built-in like tag-along partner, if you will. I feel like as someone who always wants a sweet treat, especially after eating dinner, like now I have a built-in ice cream buddy. Will he eat ice cream half the time? He's not really a big sweets fan, so he's definitely not getting that from me. But I still have someone that can go with me. Most of the time it's because if I'm going, like, you have to come with me. Like, you can't stay home alone. Or sometimes, even though if he could stay with his father, he wants to go for the ride anyways. He is back and forth on whether or not he wants to be in the car sometimes. But I feel like ice cream, sweet treat, Dunkin'. I love Dunkin' dates with him because he loves bagels. He used to be a big donut person. Now he's kind of realized he likes the little hash browns. When I was first eating one the other day, he kind of said he wanted one. And sometimes he'll have his, I want it, I want to try it, I want that. And then you kind of give it to him and he looks at it and he's like, oh no, like I don't want that. So he kind of asked what it was. I said it was kind of like a potato. He ate it. He loved it. And now he calls them Tatoes. He'll be like, I want Tatoes. I want a bagel and Tatoes. So Dunkin' is super fun to go to because obviously I'm always down for a coffee. So having him tag along, whether I have to buy him bagels or donuts, is no problem to me. He can have whatever as long as I'm getting a coffee. We can have a fun little date. I used to always bring him before daycare to get, it used to be a donut. He used to be a big donut fanatic. He still likes donuts, but now he's really on a big bagels kick. So I don't know, that's always super fun. Most of the time, like dinner or lunch wise, I always ask what he wants to eat and kind of base a place to eat around that. One, for the reason of I know he'll eat. I don't want to go somewhere and have him not want or like anything because then I'm like, well, that defeated the whole purpose. but to, I don't know, just to have a little date. I feel like cute little dates with him are so fun. I feel like I also was the type of person that never wanted to go anywhere by myself anyways, but now that I have a built-in little buddy with me, I don't know, it kind of just fits perfectly with how I am. I would much rather have him tag along than be by myself. Someone who spent every day at the park, sunrise to sunset. We were there even when the park closed. My brothers and I used to be at the park every day over the summer. I love having park days with him now. I feel like, especially because I have brought him to the park I grew up at multiple times, I feel like it's such a full circle moment, and it makes me so happy. I love it so much. I love that he loves to play around. He's kind of not really on the pace of playing with other kids at the park. At daycare, I don't think he's had much of a problem. I do think he has certain kids he really wants to be with mostly all the time, but at the park, especially because it's going to be new people, at like, what are the odds you're going to see the same kid at the park again when you go? It's all new people, it's all new faces. He's not really, like, he'll say like, oh, like, come play or come down the slide, like that type of thing. But I know the other day we were at the park and this one girl wanted to go down the slide and he was like, no, I gotta go first. And I was like, buddy, like, you could both go down, you gotta take turns, like that type of stuff. And he wasn't really a fan of that. He was kind of like, okay, but kind of was like looking sad, like he wasn't going to be able to go down at all. But I don't know, that was definitely going to be another thing to go through, I guess. But still seeing him run around the park, having a great time, jumping from like playground to playground, depending on what he wants to do. I kind of feel like if there's also too many people playing on like one little playscape, he'll kind of go to where there's not as many people, which I guess like could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't really know. I feel like it's just kind of whatever he wants to do. I'm not going to obviously force him to be hanging around all these kids, running around, playing around. If he just wants to kind of have a more chill vibe and be able to just go down the slide. He kind of likes the swings, kind of needs to like want to go rather than me being like, okay, we're going to go on the swings for a little bit. So he does love that. It's definitely been a big improvement going to the park because he used to not be a type of person that would walk on grass. Like, he could not be on grass. He didn't like it at all. So now for him to just run through the grass to get to the park, I feel like is definitely a step up, as little as that sounds. But, yeah, he's definitely improved on there. He loves going for walks. He loves being outside, which I love so much. But yeah, I don't know, just it's little things here and there. Sometimes it's big things. He's been really good with potty training lately, which has been definitely kind of a wild ride, but he's definitely on the side of he's getting really good. He tells you when he has to go potty. He used to have, totally outing his business right now, but he was not a fan of pooping on the potty. Now we're finally getting past that step. So I feel like he's getting really good with this stuff. I mean, it did take a little bit of getting a reward to get him to be going, but now it's kind of working in our favor, I guess. He's still asking for certain rewards when it happens, but at the same time, like, if it's happening, I guess we'll just have to take that little bump in the road of rewarding him literally every time. But it is what it is at this point. Honestly, just watching him kind of get into certain rhythms and routines, things is definitely interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to see what he gets into, other things he likes to do. I can't wait for him to get into sports. Sports is what I'm really kind of excited about. He's been doing like a soccer program at his daycare, which has been, I think, super fun for him. I think at first he wasn't really the biggest fan, but I think he's kind of getting into it now. There were pictures last week on the app of him super excited to be like kicking the ball, scoring goals, like all this stuff. And when picking him up and asking him about it, he gets really excited, which I think is super cute. So I do wonder what sports he'll actually like get into for himself. I know watching sports, he gets into kind of a little bit of everything. I know he's watched basketball, he's watched football. Sometimes he gets kind of confused on sports. Like if he picks up a ball, like it'll be a football and he'll be like, oh, soccer ball. So still kind of learning different sports, but very intrigued to see what he gets into. As a baseball fan myself, I really, obviously, biased opinion, but want him to get into baseball, but I don't really care what sports he plays. I just want him to have fun while he does it and kind of picking that out for himself. I don't want to force him into a sport just because. I want him to kind of do what he wants to do. So that'll be really interesting to see what he gets into. I'm kind of nervous for when he goes into school, just because obviously he'll be growing up, so he'll be going into school. That'll be definitely give me a super sensitive moment. I'll definitely be crying, but I don't even know how things are taught and learned and all of that during school. So that'll definitely be an experience for the both of us. We'll both be learning at the same time for different things. So kind of scared for that, but we'll see how it goes. He definitely has a few more years, so I'm not pushing anything right now. But yeah, I don't know. It's just definitely a whole new perspective on life, a whole different perspective for myself, for watching him, for seeing how he does and what he kind of goes through. He's definitely I don't want to say clumsy, but like accident prone. He gets so many bumps and bruises and scrapes and everything, but I guess that just kind of comes with being a boy mom. But yeah, I feel like it'll be such a fun ride for the future, seeing where it takes, I guess, the both of us. But yeah, that's kind of all I had for this little after kids moment episode. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next week back with a brand new episode. Bye.